Have you ever walked through the chaotic currents of your daily life, surrounded by the noise of traffic, the hum of technology, and the endless chatter of the crowd, and suddenly felt a pause, a momentary glitch in the matrix of reality? Perhaps you were thinking of an old friend you hadn't seen in a decade, and in that precise second, your phone lights up with their name. Or perhaps you were wrestling with a difficult question, a dilemma gnawing at your soul, and you glanced up to see the answer painted clearly on a passing billboard or written in the graffiti of a crumbling wall. Most of us dismiss these moments. We brush them off as mere accidents, statistical anomalies in a random universe. We tell ourselves, what a strange coincidence, and we hurry back to the safety of our logical, linear lives. But I have news for you, news that the mystics and sages have whispered for millennia. These are not accidents. They are not random flukes of a chaotic world. They are the breadcrumbs of destiny. These moments are the invisible threads of a grand weaver, momentarily catching the light of your awareness. They are the uncanny, a sensation that feels both familiar and alien, sending a shiver down your spine that whispers, there is more to this world than meets the eye. When you notice these uncanny coincidences, you are actually perceiving the hidden architecture of reality. It is as if the heavy velvet curtain of the material world has been pulled back for a fraction of a second, allowing you to glimpse the gears and pulleys of the divine machinery working backstage. Keep watching, for we are about to embark on a journey to decode this secret language. We will not just look at these events, we will look through them. We will uncover why they are appearing in your life right now, at this specific intersection of time and space. Are they warnings? Are they guideposts? Or are they invitations to step into a higher order of existence? To understand them is to understand the very fabric of your soul's journey. The universe is not silent. It is singing a song composed specifically for you. The question is not whether the universe is speaking, but whether you have tuned your instrument to hear the melody. These synchronicities are the first notes of that cosmic symphony, inviting you to stop, listen, and remember who you really are. To truly perceive these signs, we must first understand the vessel that receives them. Your consciousness. There is a state of being that acts as the perfect receiver for these cosmic signals. We often call it enlightenment, a word that has been weighed down by heavy religious imagery. Monks on mountaintops, ascetics in caves. But let us strip away the dogma. At its core, enlightenment is simply finding a worry-free zone in the center of your own life. Imagine your mind as a body of water. When you are stressed, anxious, or consumed by the need to control, that water is turbulent. It is a storm-tossed sea, crashing with waves of fear and doubt. In this state, the reflection of the stars is broken. The messages from the universe are scattered and intelligible. You cannot see the bottom and you cannot see the sky. But when you enter the worry-free zone, the storm breaks. The winds die down. The water becomes glass. This state is about feeling more joy and less stress, not because life has become perfect, but because your reaction to life has become peaceful. In this zone, your frequency rises. You are no longer fighting the current. You are floating with it. And it is precisely here, in this clarity, that you begin to notice synchronicities. They have always been there, swarming around you like fireflies in the night, but your inner turbulence blinded you to their light. When you are enlightened, even for just a moment, you are vibrating at the same pitch as the universe. Synchronicities are the special moments that validate this alignment. They are the universe's way of saying, you are clear, the channel is open. These moments seem to carry a hidden meaning because they do. They are tailored messages, delivered only when the recipient is ready to open the letter. Living in this zone does not mean you ignore the world's problems. It means you approach them with a quiet mind. And in that quiet, the subtle patterns of reality emerge. You see the connection between a thought you had this morning and an opportunity that knocks this evening. You realize that joy is not just an emotion, it is a mechanism of perception. The happier you are, the more clearly you see the map. The worry-free zone is not an escape from reality. It is the only place where reality can be seen in its true, interconnected form.
We cannot speak of these mysteries without paying homage to the architect of the term itself, Carl Gustav Jung. In the early 20th century, while the world was obsessed with cold, hard logic, Jung dared to look into the shadows. He saw that the scientific principle of causality, the idea that every event is caused by a preceding physical action, like one billiard ball hitting another, was insufficient to explain the complexity of human experience. He realized there was another force at work, a force he named synchronicity. Jung described these moments as an acausal connecting principle. This is a profound concept that challenges the very foundation of how we view time and space. In the world of causality, A causes B, but in the world of synchronicity, A and B happen simultaneously, connected not by physics, but by meaning. Jung famously spoke of a patient who was describing a dream about a golden scarab beetle. At that exact moment, a rare beetle, closest in type to the scarab, tapped against the window of his consulting room. To Jung, this was not a random accident. He argued that the psyche, the inner world, and matter, the outer world, are two sides of the same coin. They are not separate entities, they are one reality, merely perceived differently. When a synchronicity occurs, it is as if the coin spins, and for a split second we see that the head and the tail are forged from the same metal. He proposed that these events happen without any obvious cause, yet they carry a weight of significance that can alter the course of a life. Synchronicities act as the blurry lines between our subjective thinking and the objective events occurring around us. They suggest that the universe is not a dead machine, but a living, breathing organism that responds to our internal states. Jung's insight invites us to view reality as a unus mundus, one world, where mind and matter are continuously dancing. When you experience a synchronicity, you are witnessing the breakdown of the illusion of separation. You are seeing the universe acknowledging your inner thoughts and reflecting them back to you in the physical world, like a cosmic mirror winking at its observer. It is the ultimate validation that your internal world is just as real and just as powerful as the mountains and the stars.
When synchronicities accumulate, they begin to do something extraordinary. They dismantle our rigid understanding of what is real. We are taught from birth that there is an in here, our private thoughts, dreams, and fears, and an out there, the solid, unyielding world of rocks, taxes, and gravity. We are told that never the twain shall meet except through the clumsy vehicle of our physical actions. But synchronicities suggest a far more magical truth. They blur the lines between how we think and what happens around us. These moments make our thoughts feel powerful, dangerous, and divine. They suggest that a focused intention, a strong emotion, or a deep-seated fear has the gravitational pull to organize physical atoms into specific events. When you think of a specific song and it plays on the radio, or when you need a specific tool and find it lying on the road, the boundary between dreamer and dream dissolves. You begin to suspect that you are not merely walking through a pre-built world, but that you are actively co-creating it with every breath and every thought. This realization can be startling. It implies that we bear a responsibility for our mental landscape, because that landscape is constantly leaking out into the physical world. Synchronicities show us that our inner narrative is the blueprint for our outer experience. They make things real. They take the ethereal vapor of a thought and condense it into the hard matter of circumstance. It is as if the universe is a giant responsive canvas and your mind is the brush. Often, these moments speak to us through specific channels, symbols, numbers, words, or images that bypass our logical defenses. It is like the universe is trying to tell us something important, urgent, and personal. The skepticism of the modern mind tries to construct walls to keep these two worlds separate, to keep the magic out. But synchronicity is the ghost that walks through walls. It is the undeniable proof that the observer affects the observed. As we move deeper into this mystery, we must ask ourselves, if my thoughts can summon events, what kind of world am I building with the fears and desires I hold in the silence of my heart?
If you wish to speak with a human, you use words, clumsy, linear sounds that often fail to capture the depth of a feeling. But if you wish to speak with the infinite, you must learn a different tongue. The universe does not speak in English, French, or Vietnamese. It speaks in the primordial language of symbolism. Synchronicities are the vocabulary of this language. They do not arrive as text messages on your screen. They arrive as encrypted packets of meaning, disguised as the mundane objects of your daily life. These messages often speak to us through symbols, numbers, recurring words, or striking images. Have you ever seen a specific animal, a hawk, a stag, or even a humble butterfly appear repeatedly during a time of crisis? Have you noticed the clock freezing at 11:11, 3:33, or 4:44 with uncanny precision, as if time itself is trying to grab your lapels and shake you awake? It is like the universe is trying to tell you something important, something that cannot be conveyed through the limited bandwidth of human speech. These are not random variables, they are cosmic coordinates. Think of your consciousness as a radio receiver. For most of your life, you have been tuned to the station of survival. Static, noise, and the dull hum of routine. But when you begin to notice these symbols, you are turning the dial. The static clears, a melody begins to play.
It is like the universe is broadcasting on a frequency that has always been there, but you finally have the antenna raised to receive it. Each symbol acts as a key, unlocking a specific door in your subconscious mind. When we experience synchronicities, it is like we are seeing hints of how everything in the universe is connected by a hidden syntax. A recurring number might be a confirmation of alignment. A recurring image might be a warning or a prompt to action. The universe is speaking to us in a language that goes beyond words, because words are inventions of the mind, but symbols are the language of the soul. They bypass the gatekeepers of logic and strike directly at the core of our being. To learn this language is to become literate in the laws of creation. It is to realize that the world around you is not dead matter, but a living, breathing manuscript, constantly writing itself in real time, waiting for you to read between the lines.
How do you distinguish a true synchronicity from a mere random event? The answer lies not in the head, but in the heart. There is a specific emotional signature attached to these moments, a resonance that rings through your body like a bell struck in a quiet canyon. These moments often feel intensely positive. They do not bring fear. They bring a sudden, overwhelming sense of peace. It is like the universe is giving us a little nod of approval, a cosmic wink that says, "I see you. You are doing well." Recognizing these patterns makes us feel amazed, yes, but it also brings a profound relief. For a brief second, the crushing weight of loneliness lifts. We understand that there is a bigger plan at work, and we are not merely drifting aimlessly on a raft in the middle of a chaotic ocean. We are being steered. We are being watched over, not with judgment, but with benevolence. Living in sync with synchronicity means seeing it as more than just a coincidence. It is like having a personal guide, a silent guardian walking half a step behind us, showing us the way when the path becomes obscured by fog. These moments can leave a lasting impression on both our conscious and subconscious minds. They act as anchors. When you are lost in the dark night of the soul, you remember that moment, the song that played at the funeral, the phone call that came at the exact second of despair, and that memory becomes a lighthouse. It reminds you that the connection is real. Furthermore, this positive reinforcement creates a magnetic field. By acknowledging the nod, you invite more of it. It attracts similar experiences in the future. It is a relationship based on reciprocity. The more you acknowledge the universe, the more the universe acknowledges you. It transforms your walk through life from a solitary struggle into a collaborative dance. You begin to look for the nod, to wait for the sign, and in doing so, you cultivate a state of trust that is unshakable. You realize that the universe is not indifferent to your existence. It is cheering for you.
Life, when viewed through the narrow lens of the present moment, often appears to be a mess. We see fragments of pain, shards of joy, broken dreams, and unexpected detours. We hold these pieces in our hands, confused, unable to see how they could possibly form anything beautiful. Synchronicities are the moments when the pieces click. They are like puzzles with pieces that don't seem to fit together, Yet somehow, under the guidance of a mysterious hand, they create a beautiful picture. Imagine you are working on a puzzle of infinite complexity, but you have no box cover to reference. You are working blind. Then a synchronicity occurs. Two events, separated by years or miles, suddenly reveal their connection. You realize that the job you lost 5 years ago was the exact event that forced you to move to the city where you met your soulmate. The bad piece and the good piece lock together to form a necessary section of your life's tapestry. They blur the lines between what we think, our limited, linear planning, and what actually happens in the world, the non-linear, expansive reality. Synchronicities teach us the art of retrospective wisdom. They show us that chaos is merely order that we do not yet understand. When we experience these lockstep moments, we are given a glimpse of the finished puzzle. We see that there are no extra pieces in the universe. Nothing is wasted. Every tear, every smile, every delay, and every rush was a necessary stroke of color in the grand design. This realization changes how we view the confusing pieces we are holding right now. Instead of despairing over a piece that looks dark or jagged, we learn to hold it with patience, waiting for the synchronicity that will connect it to the larger whole. We begin to trust the puzzle maker. We understand that the picture is being assembled not just by our hands, but by the laws of a physics that transcends time itself. The beauty of the picture requires both the light and the dark, and synchronicity is the flash of lightning that reveals the masterpiece in progress.
As we deepen our engagement with these phenomena, we stumble upon a truth that has been guarded by esoteric schools for centuries. The observer is not separate from the observed. When we experience synchronicities, it is as if our thoughts have the power to shape reality. We are not just walking through a pre-built set, we are building the set as we walk. These meaningful coincidences communicate with us through various channels, symbols, numbers, words, or images, but the true medium is consciousness itself. It is like the universe is speaking to us in a language that goes beyond words, a language of pure manifestation. When you hold a thought with sufficient emotional intensity, you are impressing that thought upon the quantum field. Synchronicity is the echo of your own voice returning to you in physical form. This is why the worry-free zone mentioned earlier is so critical. If your thoughts are chaotic, your reality will be a chaotic mirror.
Is the echo
If your
of your
thoughts
own
are
voice.
coherent and focused, the synchronicities will align in a symphony of order. Each synchronicity carries a message or guidance, guiding us on our journey through life. But it also carries a confirmation of our own power. It tells us, you created this, you attracted this. Understanding this dynamic transforms us from victims of circumstance into architects of destiny. It shows us that everything is connected in a vast web of existence, and the spider at the center of your web is you. The universe is responsive, it is listening, it is waiting for your command. When you see the external world rearranging itself to match your internal world, you realize that the wall between subject and object is an illusion. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop, and your tides move the world. These experiences often feel positive and affirming because they restore our agency. They reassure us that we are on the right path, but more importantly, they reassure us that we have a hand on the steering wheel.
Recognizing patterns in synchronicities fosters a sense of wonder and awe, not just at the universe, but at the mystery of our own minds. We are powerful creators, dreaming a world into existence, one coincidence at a time.
To truly understand the nature of synchronicity, we must undergo a radical shift in perspective. We must abandon the microscope and pick up the telescope. We must zoom out until the illusion of separation dissolves. Understanding synchronicities helps us recognize the interconnectedness of the universe. It shows us that we are not isolated islands floating in a dead sea of space, but rather individual knots in a vast shimmering web of existence. In our daily lives, we perceive ourselves as separate entities. I am here, you are there, and the space between us is empty. But synchronicity reveals that the space is not empty. It is conductive. It is alive. It is a medium through which meaning travels faster than light. When you think of a person and they call you, it is because the filament connecting you in this vast web has vibrated. The thought was the pluck of a string. The phone call was the resonance at the other end. This web connects everything. The fall of a sparrow, the rotation of a distant star, the blooming of a flower, and the beat of your heart. They are all inextricably linked in a delicate balance. When we experience synchronicities, we are feeling the tremor of the web. We are realizing that every action, every thought, and every intention sends a ripple through the entire structure. The ancient mystics called this Indra's net, a net where at every intersection lies a jewel that reflects all the other jewels in the cosmos. These experiences often feel positive and affirming because they cure the sickness of loneliness. They reassure us that we are on the right path, yes, but more deeply, they reassure us that we belong. We are intrinsic parts of the whole. You cannot remove a single thread without unraveling the fabric. Recognizing patterns in synchronicities fosters a sense of wonder and awe because it is the realization that the universe is intimate with you. It knows your name. It knows your location. It responds to your presence. It is the end of the accidental life and the beginning of the connected life.
If the web is the structure, then the tapestry is the story. Synchronicities hint at a grand tapestry woven by the cosmos, where every thread is interconnected to form a design of unimaginable complexity. We, in our limited human perspective, usually stand behind the tapestry. We see the knots, the frayed edges, the abrupt cuts, and the tangled mess of colors. We look at our lives and ask, why did this happen? This makes no sense. This is ugly. But synchronicity is a moment where we are invited to step around to the front of the loom. For a brief second, we glimpse the underlying order and beauty of the cosmos. We see that the dark thread of grief was necessary to highlight the gold thread of triumph. We see that the long, boring gray thread of waiting was essential to create the space for the vibrant red thread of passion. This understanding deepens our appreciation for the mysteries of life and our place within it. It is like glimpsing the blueprint of a cathedral while you are still hauling the stones. It changes the nature of the work. You realize that what seemed like a random delay was actually a perfect timing mechanism to slot you into the right place for the next scene. The Grand Weaver makes no mistakes. There are no loose ends in this universe, only threads that haven't been tucked in yet.
They serve as gentle reminders that the universe is not a random collection of events, chaotic and cruel. It is a designed masterpiece. Every encounter you have, every delay you suffer, every coincidence that startles you is a stitch in this fabric. When you acknowledge this, the mundane becomes sacred. The stranger on the bus is no longer a stranger. They are a fellow thread crossing your path to create a specific color, a specific texture in the grand design. You begin to honor the weave, trusting that even when the pattern is obscure to you, the artist knows exactly what he is doing.
Let us listen now, not with our ears, but with our spirits. If you listen closely to the rhythm of synchronicities, you will hear that the universe is not noise, it is music. It is a harmonious symphony of interconnectedness. Experiencing synchronicities fills us with a sense of awe and wonder as we begin to glimpse the underlying order and meaning behind the seemingly chaotic nature of existence. In a cacophony, sounds clash, fight, and dissolve into static. But in a symphony, even the dissonance serves a purpose. It builds tension that leads to a glorious resolution. Synchronicities are the moments of resolution. They are the crescendo where the brass section aligns perfectly with the strings. They are the evidence that there is a conductor. It is like discovering hidden patterns in a beautiful work of art, where each stroke contributes to the larger masterpiece. You might think your life is a series of random notes, a high note here, a low note there, a long silence. But when a synchronicity strikes, you hear the melody. You realize that the silence was a rest, not a void. You realize that the low note was providing the baseline for a high note that is yet to come. This perception changes everything. It transforms anxiety into anticipation. Instead of fearing the chaos, you begin to look for the rhythm. You understand that the universe moves in cycles, in measures, in beats. When you are in sync, you are literally dancing to the beat of creation. The uncanny coincidences are simply the moments when your personal rhythm locks into the universal rhythm. It is a feeling of flow, of effortlessness, where you are being carried by the music rather than struggling to write it yourself. The underlying order is there, always playing. Synchronicity is just the moment you finally hear the tune.
At the core of the human experience is a question that haunts us in the dark hours of the night. Am I alone? Is this universe an empty room, and am I just talking to myself? These meaningful coincidences often carry a sense of affirmation and reassurance, answering that ancient question with a resounding no. They remind us that we are not alone in this vast universe. They affirm our connection to something greater than ourselves. Whether you call it the universe, God, the Tao, or the collective consciousness, synchronicity is its signature. It is the fingerprint of the divine upon the clay of your life. By recognizing and honoring these patterns, we deepen our understanding of the cosmic design. We move from belief to gnosis, direct knowledge. You no longer just hope there is a higher power. You have seen its handiwork in the intricate timing of your own day. We come to appreciate that everything happens for a reason, even if we may not always understand it at first. This is the hardest lesson, but the most liberating. The job loss that led to the career of your dreams, the heartbreak that led to your spiritual awakening. In the moment, they felt like punishments. In hindsight, revealed through the lens of synchronicity, they look like blessings. This awareness fosters a profound sense of trust in the inherent goodness of the universe and our place within it. It teaches us that the universe is not indifferent, it is benevolent, it is conspiring in your favor. It is constantly working to bring you back to your true path, to your true self. The uncanny moments are the course corrections. They are the gentle and sometimes not so gentle nudges from a loving parent, guiding a child through a dark forest. When you trust this connection, the fear of the unknown evaporates, replaced by a curiosity for what the Great Weaver will create next.
Synchronicity is not merely a spectator sport. It is not enough to simply sit in the audience and applaud when the universe performs a magic trick. To truly understand this phenomenon, one must climb onto the stage. It is about living in harmony with these coincidences, integrating them into the very rhythm of your breath and stride. It is like having a secret language with the universe, a private dialect known only to you and the great mystery. Imagine walking through the world where every license plate, every overheard snippet of conversation, every song that shuffles onto your playlist is a potential sentence in a dialogue. Most people walk through a silent world, deaf to the conversation. But for the initiate, the world is chatty. The universe is constantly talking. Every meaningful coincidence is a message waiting to be understood, a love letter sealed in the envelope of the mundane. When you start to live this way, you realize that you are never truly alone in your head. When you ask a question in the privacy of your mind, should I take this job? Is this relationship right for me? The universe answers. It answers in the sudden song on the radio, the headline of a newspaper blowing across your path, or the chance meeting with a stranger. This is the art of flow. It is the shift from feeling like an orphan of existence to feeling like a beloved child of the cosmos, constantly in communication with the Mother. Embracing this secret language requires a shift in attention. You must become a detective of the divine. You must look for the clues. And the beautiful paradox is this: the more you listen, the more the universe speaks. It is a relationship built on attention. If you ignore a friend, they stop calling. If you ignore the universe, the signs fade into the background. But if you acknowledge every sign with a nod of gratitude, the channel widens, the static disappears. The messages become clearer, louder, and more frequent. You are establishing a line of communication that bypasses logic and connects you directly to the source of wisdom.
When we embrace synchronicity, we do something dangerous to the status quo. We invite magic back into our lives. We tear down the gray walls of probability and open the door to endless possibilities and opportunities. We stop living in a linear, predictable black and white movie and step into a technicolor, multi-dimensional reality. Synchronicities become our guides. They are the compass needles that do not point north, but point to truth.
They lead us down the path of our true purpose and destiny. How many times have you heard a story of someone who missed a flight only to meet their future business partner at the airport bar? Or someone who took a wrong turn and discovered the house they would live in for the rest of their lives? These are not accidents, they are course corrections. The universe uses synchronicity to steer us when our logical minds are trying to drive us off a cliff. Living in sync with synchronicity means cultivating a constant sense of awe and wonder. It is about approaching life with an open heart and mind, ready to receive the gifts that the universe has to offer. It is the attitude of a child entering a treasure room. When you walk out your door in the morning, do you expect the same old grind, or do you expect a miracle? Your expectation sets the stage. By allowing synchronicities to impress both our conscious and subconscious minds, we create a powerful magnet. We become a vortex for attracting more of these meaningful experiences. This is the alchemy of attention. What you focus on expands. If you focus on the magical connectivity of life, you attract more connections. You begin to live in a state of serendipitous flow, where the red lights turn green as you approach, where the right book falls off the shelf into your hands, and where the help you need arrives exactly when you need it. You become a magnet for the miraculous.
But let us not romanticize this path without speaking of its difficulty. Living in sync with synchronicity isn't always easy. In fact, it can be the hardest thing you will ever do. Why? Because it requires the one thing the human ego hates most: surrender. It requires letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. We are taught to be the captains of our ships, to grip the wheel with white knuckles, to map out every mile, to force our will upon the world. Synchronicity asks us to take our hands off the wheel. It asks us to trust the wind. To the logical mind, this looks like madness. It looks like irresponsibility. But to the spiritual mind, it is the ultimate act of sanity. It is about trusting that the universe has our back. It is about believing that the intelligence that spins the galaxies and orchestrates the seasons is capable of managing your life better than you can. This surrender is a death of the small controlling self. It is terrifying to let go of the plan you made for yourself, only to wait for a sign that hasn't arrived yet. It requires a tolerance for the void. It requires you to sit in the uncertainty and say, "I trust." This phase of the journey tests your faith. You might face delays that make no sense. You might face rejections that sting. But living in sync means understanding that everything happens for a reason, even if we can't see it right away. The rejection was a protection. The delay was a preparation. The loss was a clearing of space for something better. You surrender your timeline for the divine timeline. You trade your limited sight for the infinite vision of the cosmos. It is a free fall into the arms of the unknown, trusting that you will be caught. Understanding synchronicities is like deciphering a message from the universe that has been encrypted for your protection. The message is always there, but it is broadcast on a subtle frequency. It is not a shout, it is a whisper. To hear it, you must stop shouting your demands at the sky. It is about tuning in to the subtle whispers of meaning hidden within seemingly random events. The universe is polite. It will not interrupt your noise.
If your mind is filled with the clamor of anxiety, the roar of ambition, and the constant chatter of social media, you will miss the message. You will walk right past the burning bush and only see a fire hazard. To interpret synchronicities, we must engage in a process of quiet calibration. We must learn to distinguish the signal from the noise. The noise is the chaos of the world. The signal is the synchronicity. This requires a stillness of spirit. It is like tuning a radio. You must turn the dial slowly, with patience, until the static clears and the voice of intuition comes through crisp and clear. This tuning process transforms you. You become less reactive and more responsive. You stop fighting the events of your life and start reading them. Why did this happen becomes, what is this telling me? You become a reader of reality. You realize that the random flat tire, the spilled coffee, the cancelled meeting, they are all letters in a sentence. When you tune in, you stop being a victim of bad luck and start being a student of divine timing. You realize that the universe is constantly guiding you, gently nudging you away from cliffs and towards the peaks, if only you would quiet down enough to hear the directions.
The universe is constantly broadcasting, but the signal is subtle. It does not compete with the noise of the marketplace or the clamor of the ego. To truly hear it, we must enter the gateway of reflection. Understanding synchronicities is like deciphering a message from the stars that has been encoded into the events of your day. It requires a shift from doing to being. To interpret these signs, we must engage in a process of excavation. We must dig beneath the surface of the event. Why this person? Why now? Why those words? Meditation serves as our shovel and our lantern in this archaeological dig. It is the gateway to understanding synchronicities on a deeper level. Most of us live in a state of mental turbulence, a storm of worries, plans, and regrets. In this state, the surface of our mind is like a choppy ocean. It cannot reflect the stars above. By taking time to quiet the mind and tune in to our inner wisdom, we still the waters. We allow the sediment to settle. Only then does the true significance of synchronicities reveal itself. It is like peeling back the layers of a mystery to uncover its hidden truths. A flat tire is no longer just an annoyance. In the silence of meditation, you realize it stopped you from being at an intersection where an accident occurred. A lost wallet is no longer a tragedy. It becomes the reason you walked into a police station and met a person who would change your career. Reflection transforms the raw data of life into wisdom. It allows you to connect the dots that your busy mind missed. It is in the silence that the aha moment arrives. The universe whispers in the gaps between your thoughts. If there are no gaps, there is no message. Therefore, the practice of stillness is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the cosmic detective. It is the act of cleaning the lens so that the light of meaning can shine through without distortion.
In the realm of logic, 1 + 1 = 2. But in the realm of synchronicity, 1 + 1 can equal a doorway to a new dimension.
Have you ever felt a
To
pull?
navigate this strange land, we cannot rely solely on the rational mind. The rational mind is a map of the territory we have already explored. It is useless in the unknown. Here, trusting our intuition is essential. Our gut feelings often serve as our compass, guiding us towards the correct
Just a
interpretation
coincidence.
when logic fails. Have you ever felt a pull towards a stranger,
attention.
a sudden urge to turn left instead of right, a feeling of rightness about a decision that looks wrong on paper? That is your internal compass spinning. It is like having an inner knowing that transcends logic and reason, leading us to insights that may not be immediately apparent. Intuition is the language the soul uses to speak to the conscious mind.
arrives
When a
without
synchronicity occurs, your logic might say it's just a
feels like an
coincidence,
opening.
but your
lie
intuition
feels
whispers,
like a closing.
pay attention. It is a physical sensation, a tightening of the stomach, a flutter in the heart, a chill on the skin. These are the sensors of the soul. Trusting this compass requires bravery. We are trained to demand proof, data, and peer reviews. But the most important truths of your life will often arrive without footnotes. They will arrive as a feeling. To interpret synchronicity, you must learn to trust the resonance. Does this interpretation make you feel expanded or contracted? Does it bring relief or anxiety? The truth always feels like an opening. A lie always feels like a closing. Your intuition knows the frequency of truth. It is the tuning fork that vibrates when the universe strikes the right note. Throw away the map of logic when you are in the dark woods of the unknown, and trust the golden light burning within your own chest.
As we follow the trail of synchronicities, something profound begins to happen to the observer. The observer changes. Synchronicities often serve as catalysts for a spiritual awakening, sparking a profound shift in our perception of reality. This is not just a change in opinion, it is a change in optics. You literally start to see a different world. Imagine waking up from a gray, monochrome dream to discover a whole new world, one where everything is interconnected and alive with meaning. That is what spiritual awakening feels like. It is like stepping into a higher dimension of awareness, where every moment is infused with significance and purpose. The mundane becomes magical. The background noise of the universe becomes a symphony. Before this shift, life feels like a series of disconnected events: breakfast, traffic, work, sleep. But after the shift, sparked by the recognition of synchronicity, life feels like a continuous flow of energy. You realize that coincidence is just the term we use when we can't see the wires. Awakening is seeing the wires. It is seeing the golden threads that tie the anger of the morning to the lesson of the afternoon. Synchronicities play a crucial role in this awakening process by opening our eyes to the underlying harmony of the universe. They act as the glitch in the matrix that forces us to question the nature of the simulation. They remind us that we are not separate from the world around us, but intrinsically connected to it. The tree is not just a tree, it is a witness. The bird is not just a bird, it is a messenger. The world stops being a collection of dead objects and starts being a community of living subjects.
You are no longer a stranger in a strange land. You are home.
During a spiritual awakening, we may experience profound shifts in our consciousness. The most significant of these is the dissolution of the little self, the ego that believes it is fighting against the world. It is like waking up from a long slumber to discover the true nature of reality, unity. We act like drops of water, terrified of drying up, terrified of the other drops, but synchronicity reveals the ocean. It reminds us that we are drops in the vast ocean of existence, each one essential to the whole, but ultimately made of the same water. We may feel a deep sense of peace and contentment, knowing that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. This is the shift from me against the world to me as the world. Synchronicities often make their presence known during spiritual awakening for several compelling reasons. They are the handshake between the individual soul and the universal soul. They shed light on the profound connection between these meaningful coincidences and our journey toward enlightenment. When you understand that you are connected to everything, fear dissolves. What is there to fear if the universe is you and you are the universe? Synchronicities are the evidence of this union. When you think a thought and the world reflects it, it proves that the boundary between internal and external is porous. You are not a tiny, isolated biological machine. You are an aperture through which the universe is observing itself. This shift in consciousness is the ultimate goal of the journey. The coincidences are just the breadcrumbs. The destination is the realization that you have never been alone, and you have never been separate. You are the weaver, and you are the web.
Why do these signs appear with such frequency during the periods of our greatest growth? They are not merely decorative, they are functional. Synchronicities often make their presence known during spiritual awakening for several compelling reasons, shedding light on the profound connection between these meaningful coincidences and our journey toward enlightenment. Firstly, synchronicities serve as divine confirmation. The path of the spiritual seeker is often lonely and filled with doubt. We walk in the fog, unsure if we are making the right choices or merely deluding ourselves. In these moments of uncertainty, synchronicities act as gentle nudges from the universe, reassuring us that we are heading in the right direction. It is like a navigator on a ship receiving a signal from a lighthouse. The signal confirms, yes, this is the way. Keep going. It is an affirmation from the cosmos, validating our choices and encouraging us to keep moving forward despite the lack of logical proof. Secondly, and perhaps more mysteriously, synchronicities play a crucial role in the manifestation of our desires. During a spiritual awakening, the barrier between the mind and matter thins. Our thoughts and emotions become increasingly potent. We become alchemists of consciousness. Synchronicities help align our inner desires with the natural flow of the universe, amplifying our ability to manifest our dreams into reality. It acts as a feedback loop. When you hold a pure intention, a desire for love, for purpose, for abundance, the universe begins to rearrange itself around that intention. Synchronicities are the evidence that the rearrangement is happening. It is like the universe conspiring to bring our deepest desires to fruition. When you see the signs, it means your order has been received by the cosmic kitchen and the meal is being prepared.
It guides us to a life of fulfillment and abundance, proving that we are co-creators with the divine.
In the realm of logic, 1 + 1 = 2. But in the realm of synchronicity, 1 + 1 can equal a doorway to a new dimension. To navigate this strange land, we cannot rely solely on the rational mind. The rational mind is a map of the territory we have already explored. It is useless in the unknown. Here, trusting our intuition is essential. Our gut feelings often serve as our compass, guiding us towards the correct interpretation when logic fails. Have you ever felt a pull towards a stranger, a sudden urge to turn left instead of right, a feeling of rightness about a decision that looks wrong on paper? That is your internal compass spinning. It is like having an inner knowing that transcends logic and reason, leading us to insights that may not be immediately apparent. Intuition is the language the soul uses to speak to the conscious mind. When a synchronicity occurs, your logic might say it's just a coincidence, but your intuition whispers, "Pay attention." It is a physical sensation, a tightening of the
Not two
stomach,
separate
a
rooms,
flutter in the heart,
one
a chill
continuous
on the
house.
skin. These are the sensors of the soul. Trusting this compass requires bravery. We are trained to demand proof, data, and peer reviews, but the most important truths of your life will often arrive without footnotes. They will arrive as a feeling. To interpret synchronicity, you must learn to trust the resonance. Does this interpretation make you feel expanded or contracted? Does it bring relief or anxiety? The truth always feels like an opening. A lie always feels like a closing. Your intuition knows the frequency of truth. It is the tuning fork that vibrates when the universe strikes the right note. Throw away the map of logic when you are in the dark woods of the unknown, and trust the golden light burning within your own chest.
So you have seen the numbers, you have felt the uncanny connection. What now? Reacting to synchronicities involves a delicate balance of openness, curiosity, and trust in the universe's guidance. It is a practice, a discipline of the spirit. Here are the ways to navigate these meaningful coincidences. First, remain open. When you encounter a synchronicity, avoid the knee-jerk reaction of the skeptic who dismisses it as mere coincidence. Instead, embrace it as a potential sign. Hold it lightly in your mind. Say to the universe, "I see this. I am listening." Synchronicities often occur when we are tuned in to the present moment, so pay attention to your surroundings. Second, reflect and record. Take time to reflect on the synchronicity and its potential implications for your life. Journaling is a powerful tool here. Write down the coincidences. Over time, you will look back at your journal and see a pattern that was invisible in the moment. You will see the arc of a story being written. Meditating on these events can help you gain clarity. Ask yourself, what is this symbol trying to teach me? Finally, act on the guidance. If a synchronicity seems to point you in a specific direction, toward a new job, a new city, or a new relationship, consider following it. This is the leap of faith. It is scary to follow a sign instead of a spreadsheet, but the rewards are often miraculous. Trust that the universe is guiding you toward what is best for your highest good. Follow the breadcrumbs. They are leading you home. In conclusion,
Synchronicities are not just quirks of probability. They serve as profound gateways to understanding the interconnectedness of all things and the deeper mysteries of existence. Throughout our journey of spiritual awakening, these meaningful coincidences act as guiding lights, illuminating
this
the
video
path
was a
toward greater
synchronicity.
self-awareness and enlightenment. From the subtle whispers of repeated numbers to the serendipitous encounters with significant individuals, synchronicities remind us of a singular, earth-shattering truth.
I thank you
We
for
are
your
part
attention.
of something much greater than ourselves. We are not small, insignificant
Consider
specks of
clicking the
dust.
subscribe
We
button.
are the conscious awareness of the cosmos itself. They affirm our connection to
I
the
read them,
universe and
and I
offer
honor them.
glimpses into the hidden patterns and divine order that govern our lives. They show us that beneath the chaos of the surface there is a harmonious rhythm, a music of the spheres. By embracing synchronicities and learning to interpret their messages, we can unlock the full potential of our spiritual journey. We learn to stop swimming against the current and start floating with the river of Tao. They serve as reminders to trust the process, follow our intuition, and surrender to the wisdom of the universe. If you are still watching, consider this. Finding this video was likely a synchronicity in itself. You were meant to hear this message today. I would like to thank you for your attention and your presence. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the cosmos and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support helps us weave more of these stories. Feel free to share your own experiences, your own uncanny coincidences in the comments below. I read them and I honor them. Until next time, pay attention to the signs. Take care and subscribe for more insightful content. The universe is speaking. Are you listening?